Okay, so let's get started with the interview. So, can you tell me the tech stacks which you have worked on and also about your latest project?
Yeah, so I have around 4 years of experience, and in my career, I have mostly worked on Java and the related technologies. And I am mostly proficient in Spring Boot, microservices architecture, and MySQL from database side. And also, I have some experience in MongoDB for the non-relational databases. And also, in terms of DevOps, I have set up CI/CD pipeline with Jenkins with some extent to automate builds and deployments. And I also have some basic knowledge of AWS cloud, so using services like S3 and EC2. Then coming to my project, currently I am working in the banking domain on a system that uh, currently we are migrating from the monolithic architecture to microservices. So this application basically handles account management, transactions, and fraud detection. So my role basically involves in designing and developing microservices using Spring Boot and integrating them with both MySQL and MongoDB in different microservices and whenever it is needed. And we are also using the caching mechanism and all like Redis and all in that. So yeah, so these are the basically the tech stacks and my project which currently I am working on.
Okay, okay. So, what version of Java you are using?
Java we are using Java 11.
Okay, and what version of Spring Boot you are using?
Spring Boot I think we are using 2 plus Spring Boot 2.x. Yeah.
Okay, so can you copy the code from the chat?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So here we have the employees of various departments. All right. So we have the employees of HR department. We have the employees of IT and finance department. Right. Now, what I want is I want all these employees to be printed into a single list. So right now it is list of list, right? But I want all this to be printed in a single list. Understood?
Yeah, I understood. So basically this is a list of list and we want all this to be printed into a single list.
Yes.
Okay. So for this what we can do, um, we can use flat map to have this into a single list.
Okay. Can you write the code?
Yeah. So I will have this department employees, then we can say stream, and then we can apply flat map on this, and this flat map will basically uh, since it is accepting list, so we can use a method referencing here. Okay, so this will flatten the um, list of list. Okay, now we can collect it. Collect collectors dot to list. Yeah, and further we can just aggregate this to the list, and we can display that. So we can just say list of string, and let's say all employee. Yeah, so we can print like this and it will be fine, I think.
Okay, okay, perfect. So now what I want is I want you to print only those employees whose name starts with J.
Whose name starts with J. So we only want to print this John Doe and Jen Smith.
Yes.
Okay. So in that case, what we can do is mm, we can apply filter. So we have map and then we have filter. So we can apply filter here. So all employee dot stream, and then we can say filter. Okay, and then let's say each name we can take and we can use starts with, I think we have a method, so we can use that.
Okay, please go ahead.
Yeah, so we can say name as in lambda expression. In lambda expression, the parameter name we will take, and we will say name dot starts with, and starts with so in this case J, and further we can collect it now. So yeah, so now similar to how we have collectors dot to list. So yeah,
Okay, okay. So what is the latest version of Java you have worked on?
yeah, I have worked on Java 11.
Okay. So can you name some features of it?
Yeah, so in string some methods has been added, like strip is there, each blank is there, and a few more methods are there. So those methods has been added, and also uh, we can use var keyword in lambda expression. So earlier this was not allowed, but now we can use var. Then in optional also some enhancements has been done. So yeah, so I'm able to recall these only.
Okay, so any idea why var was introduced to have in the lambda expression parameters, as you said, right?
Yeah, so the var was introduced. One of the reason is that now we can use annotations and all with the parameters. Earlier it was difficult. Suppose we are passing in the parameter like anything we are passing. So if we want to have it not null, so we can just annotate with at the rate of not null. That is one reason um, I can recall. And other reasons can be the consistency and all, but I'm not pretty much sure. for those.
Okay, what is functional interface in Java 8?
Yeah, a functional interface is an interface which has exactly one abstract method, and it can have any number of static and default methods. So that is basically used for I mean Lambda expression and method references. So we have various inbuilt functional interfaces in Java 8, like we have predicate, consumer, by consumer, supplier. So all these are there, and we can also create our own custom functional interface. So we have the annotation at the rate of functional interface, so that we can give on top of the interface, so which makes sure that we follow the rules of making the interface as functional interface. As I said, like one abstract method, and it can have any number of static and default methods. So yeah.
So do you know reduce method?
Reduce, yeah, yeah, I know it.
So what is it? Can you give one small example?
Yeah, so reduce method is we apply on top of a stream, and whenever we have to reduce the suppose a list to a single element, then we use it. So for example, let's say we have any list of numbers. If we will reduce it, so for example, array dot as list, and let's say we have numbers 1 2 3 4, right? And let me aggregate it to numbers. So we have, let's say, list of integers. Okay, so now in this numbers, we can say stream, and then on this method we can further apply reduce, and we can give the initial I mean number, so from which, so what it will do, that it will be keep on adding with that. So here for example, if I say reduce, and here we can give, let's say, any number we can give. So it will first add it to the this number. Okay, and then let's say a comma b, then we have, then sorry, then a plus b. So here 0 we are taking as a initial integer, which has to be used to a sum. So 1 will be added with 0, so that will be 1, and then the result will further will be added to the next element. So that is how it will work, and further we can just collect this, not collect this, we can just, it will simply return the result sum. Sum. So it will simply give 10. So 10 will be the result of it.
Okay, what is the difference between synchronized map and concurrent hash map?
Synchronized map is the part of collections, and concurrent hash map is in java.util package. So in synchronized map, it is actually both are thread safe, but the major difference is in synchronized map the lock is acquired on the object level, but in concurrent hash map the locks are acquired on the bucket. So we have various buckets, right? So here we have the lock is acquired at the bucket level. So because of this, we have the advantage with the concurrent hash map. So whenever suppose any update is happening to the concurrent hash map, so the lock is only acquired to that specific bucket. So while the update is happening, still the multiple readings can happen concurrently. So yeah, so this is the major difference between these two.
So how about null keys and values? Are they allowed in these two?
So basically, in synchronized map, null key and multiple null values are allowed, and in concurrent hash map, null keys and values are not allowed.
Okay,
And also one more difference is there that since the at the same time reading can happen with concurrent hash map while the write is happening, so it is having the faster performance compared to the synchronized map.
okay, okay, okay. What is the difference between list iterator and iterator?
List iterator and iterator.
Yes,
Yeah, iterator is said to be as universal cursor, and it is applicable for any collection class, but list iterator we can use only for the list. Also the iterator has I think limited number of methods. It has I think has next, and one more method is there. I think remove is there, but in list iterator we have like various methods apart from this. So it also has like next index and has previous. So like previous cursors are also there in this, but it is not there in iterator. The another difference is the iterator only goes forward, but list iterator can move both forward and backward. So yeah, so these are the differences between these two.
okay. Can you explain the internal working of HashMap?
Yeah, hash map. So by default, hash map comes with the table of size 16. So we have 16 buckets in the beginning, and so whenever we are going to, let's say we have hash map, and we are going to add something to it. So it has a key, and then it will have the value. So uh, as soon as we give the key, so based on that key the hash is calculated initially, and then based on that hash the index is calculated, and this index can be either between this 0 to 15. So 0 will be the first bucket and 15 will be the last 16th bucket. So whatever the index will come, let's say index came as let's say 1, so it will go to the like first bucket, and there the key value and the hash code and the link to the next node will be there. So initially it will be null because we don't have any link at that specific bucket right now. So similarly for the other items whatever we are inserting, so for all of them, so index will be generated, and it will be keep on adding to the uh, uh, buckets, the corresponding buckets based on the indexes. Now uh, whenever the same index is calculated, suppose one we had already calculated and again for the next item one came, So it will point to the so from that bucket it will point to the next node and it will be added. Once the addition of the items are done, the all the buckets will have the some nodes with the data in that. So each node will have the key value, hash code, and information of the next node. Now, whenever we are going to uh, map dot get of key, when we are going to do that, so again the hash code of that key will be calculated and the index will be calculated, and we go to the that corresponding where what based on the whatever index has come, and whatever the corresponding data is there, that is fetched and displayed. That is how, I mean, a hash map works internally.
So what if we insert key as null? So what will happen?
Yeah, so there is one condition: if key is null, in that case it will be stored at the zeroth index.
And what if the size of these nodes to a specific bucket is more than 8? So anything happens?
Yeah. So basically, if so from Java 8, a new feature has been introduced, like whenever the size of the node is more than 8 to the specific bucket, then the the whole of this bucket switched from linked list to the balance tree. So like basically this is used for the optimization of the performance of the hash map.
Okay. And how this increases the performance?
Yeah, because whenever it was linked list, so earlier it was linked list, so now it has been converted to balance tree. So balance tree has the time complexity is O of log n. So that is a much faster way compared to the linked list.
So what is solid principle? Can you explain?
Yeah, solid principle. So basically, in that S stands for single responsibility principle. So a so that says that a class should have only one responsibility. Let's say the class is the employee. So we can have like get name or get salary, or all these methods are fine. But suppose we have something like unexpected kind of method, let's say OTP service or something. So those methods are like kind of not relevant for this employee class, right? So this employee class should have only the responsibility which is required for the employee. So if something different is there, that should go to the different class or something different. Now coming to O, so O stands for open close principle. So this says that open for extension using an interface but closed for modification of the class. So whenever we have a any class, so that should be always open for the extension, but that is not, that should not be allowed for the modification. And then the L. So L is for the list scope substitution principle. So if a class suppose is subtype of class B, then we should be able to replace B with A without interrupting the behavior of the program. So that is what is L. And then I stands for interface segregation principle. So this basically says that suppose we have the various methods, so we should try to, I mean, segregate those methods into the uh, I mean separate interfaces if possible, right? So we should not club all those methods to a single interface if it is there, right? So we can have various small interfaces and the corresponding methods we can put against that. So that is what I stands for. And then D stands for dependency inversion principle. So that is basically the main purpose of that is to make the code as loosely coupled. So it should not be strictly binded with the class. Suppose if a class is there and we are using the object of another class, so we should not like directly use the object of that. So instead of that, we can make it loosely coupled, and then we can use it. So this is what is the solid principle.
Okay, can you clear this up? Okay, now can you copy the sample code from the chat?
Yeah.
Okay, now can you guess the output of it?
Uh, so we have a static block, yeah, instance block and constructor. So as soon as we run it, so static. So first of all, this static block will execute. So we will have a static block first, then after that, uh, I think instance block executed before constructor. So it will be instance block, and then it will be constructor. Now next time, since in the same main method we are running it, so a static block has already run. So this time it this static block will not run, and again this instance block and constructor will come into picture. So yeah, so this will be output, I think.
Okay, so what is microservices and what are its key features?
Yeah, microservices, we can say they are a small or independent service, and so the multiple microservice they work together to build one full-fledged application. We used to have earlier the monolithic application, and that used to be quite big. And what we do in microservice, that whole application we split into some different modules, and those modules independently we can work on that, or those modules can be assigned to different developers, and they can independently work on that. And also that can be in different technologies, and different databases can be used for them. Like each microservice has its own specific task, and it can run independently, and they communicate with each other through APIs. Like they can communicate either through the REST, or maybe using messaging system like Kafka, ActiveMQ and all. And so the main idea for this is to break down the big application into smaller pieces, so that it is easier to like develop, deploy or scale. So the basically microservices are loosely coupled, we can say. So each service can work on its own, and if suppose any of the service is down, or any of the microservice is not reachable, so we have different design patterns. For example, we have historics. So we write the fallback method for that, in case of um, the different microservices is not reachable, or some timeout also we can write. So as per the whatever the architecture we have decided, so we can do that. So yeah.
Okay, so what is API gateway?
API gateway is a like single entry point for all the request. Either it is coming through some REST API, I mean it is coming through some REST API, or it is coming through the web application. So this is kind of single entry point for all the client requests. So whatever the request come, so it the purpose of API gateway is that it routes the request to the uh, desired microservices. Okay, so it also handles various other tasks like authentication and logging and rate limiting. So all these are done in API gateway itself, and it simplifies the client's work because they don't have to interact with multiple services directly. So one single URL we have to call. Suppose we have a web application, and we don't have to uh, call different modules or different microservices for different purposes. Instead, we can call only one URL, and that will handle everything to get the required uh,
So,
task to be
how
done.
do you ensure data consistency between the microservices?
So we can use basically Saga design pattern to maintain the data consistency. So for example, if a process involves multiple services, so each service complete its part and sends an acknowledgement to the next service, right? So if one service fails, then previous service will roll back their actions. So this is one approach, and then another approach is using event-driven architecture, where services communicate using events.
What is circuit breaker?
Circuit breaker is a design pattern, like that is one of the design pattern. So as I said, whenever we have the uh, communication between the microservices, and suppose the another microservices is not reachable, or that microservices is stopped temporarily or not responding, so in that case we use this circuit breaker design pattern. So Hystrix is one of the way to implement that. So in that basically we write the fallback method, and in that fallback method we can mention like in case of failure what need to be done. So that we can do. So basically that avoids overloading the failing services and gives it time to recover. So this is what is the circuit breaker pattern.
Okay, so how do you handle the security in microservices?
So for security, uh, so w- we can do that at different levels. So we can use JWT tokens for authentication and
Okay,
authorization.
so have you worked on JWT?
Yeah, I have worked on it.
Okay, can you explain that?
Yeah, so JWT token basically consists of three parts. So one is header, and second one is payload, and then signature. So header will have like uh, whatever the algorithm is there or type, and then the whole payload will be there. And signature is 264-bit secret key. So that is appended with the token. So for that, as soon as a user logs in, so we generate the JWT token, and in while generation of the JWT token, we set the whatever its expiration time will be there, and we sign it with the secret key using the secret key. So that is how it is generated, and then as soon as user logs in with the successfully with the credentials given, So based on this, token is generated and give and that is given to the user. And then the user, whenever from the next time will try to hit any URL, so the user has to pass this token with the B as the bearer within the uh, URL whenever the user is trying to hit the URL. And at that time we have a validate token. So we validate the token, and then suppose we want to whatever the URLs we want to be validated, so that will be validated. But suppose if any of the URL we don't want to be validated, in that case we can just in the configuration we can give that with ant matchers, like uh, for example the login page or sign up page. So all that we don't want the validation on that, so we can just say permit all for them. And any other request that should be authenticated. So that is how the authentication happens. And also and also we can do the authorization of the user, whoever is doing the login, based on the roles what the user has been assigned. So those things also can be done, so that comes under the authorization. So yeah.
Okay, any idea about 12 factor app principle in microservices?
Yeah, I have some idea of it. So the 12 factor app principle are a set of like best practices for building cloud native applications. So they include things like keeping configurations in environment variables, and treating logs as event streams, and ensuring services are stateless. So using these principles, we can make the microservices more scalable and kind of portable. So yeah, so these are basically the best principles. So yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. So in Spring Boot, how you handle property overriding in a multiple environment setup? So suppose you have different environments, right? And you want to use different properties. So how do you do that?
Yeah, so basically what we can do is we have application.properties or YAML file. So we have different uh, properties file will be there, or YAML file will be there for different environments. So basically we use profiles for this, and we will use let's say we have production environment, so application prod we can use dot properties, and we will have application properties also. So if the property is any specific property is defined in both application dot properties and application prod dot properties, so in that case the profile specific property will override the default. So I mean the in the prod whatever has been mentioned, so that will be basically used, and that also can be activated using the, we can put like spring profiles dot active equal to prod. So this way we can activate it, and also whatever inside the prod properties, so those will be the default ones which will be used. So yeah.
Okay, how does a Spring Boot handles asynchronous processing?
Yeah, for asynchronous processing, I think we have the annotation called at the rate of async, so that can be used. So for that, first of all, we have to add at the rate of enable async in the configuration class. So this annotation we can use, and then further we can annotate the method with at the rate of async only. Uh, so whichever we want to run asynchronously. So yeah, so these annotations basically help us to make the any asynchronous processing.
So in Spring Boot actuator endpoints, how do you secure it?
Um, for that, we can include Spring security and actuator dependencies first, and then in application properties, we can configure the endpoint exposure like uh, we have web.exposure.include, and that we can add like if suppose health and metrics we want, then we can add there, and then we can restrict the access to sensitive endpoints in our security filter chain. So there we can say like request matcher and then actuator health dot permit all, and then request matcher actuator hash role admin. So whichever, so for these only the admin will have the access and the rest of the roles will not have the access of it. So yeah, so this is how we can do that.
Okay, so in Spring Boot we have annotations like at the rate of controller, service and repository, right? So instead of this, can we use at the rate of component?
Uh, yes, we can use add component instead of add service controller and repository, but it is not recommended uh, to use. So we should normally use service controller and repository only.
Okay, and why so? Why it is not recommended?
Yeah, so we using add service uh, and like suppose we are writing any business logic and all. So add service basically denotes that okay, this is a service class and all the business logics and everything will be written here. Similarly, for add controller, if it is a controller class and if it is repository, any custom query and all we are writing. So I mean, at the rate of repository is much convenient and easier to use. However, we have like in case of suppose at the repository is there, so that actually comes with some additional functionality for the persistent layer. So Spring automatically handles exception like data access exception and converts database specific exception into Spring unified exceptions. So we don't have to explicitly handle it. So if we are not using add repository and we are using add component, so we might not be able to, I mean, understand the actual cause in case of any issue or data access exception comes.
So when actually we should use add component?
So add component we can use for some utility or helper classes if we are writing. So if any class that does not belong to any specific layer, in that case we can go for add component.
Okay, I'm giving you one problem in SQL. Can you copy that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so we have this table, right? So now you have to write the query to count the number of employees in a department whose salary is greater than or equal to 40,000. Okay, so for example, here we have HR, right? So HR has two entries and both are 40,000, 40,000, correct? So HR will be 2. So in IT also we have 45,000 and 40,000. So IT also will be 2. But finance is only 30,000. So there is only one employee, but it is less than 40,000. So this will not come. So your output should be HR2 and IT2. Got it?
Yeah. So for this, we can write select star from uh, so I'm assuming it's employee table. Select star from employee where salary salary is greater than or equal to 40,000. Okay, and then this will give only this, but we have to do the count of star. So basically we want the count of it. So count of a star. Okay, count of a star, and let's say here we can say department name comma count of a star. So this will give me the department name and count of it, but it should be grouped by a department name, right? Because we want to count the number of employees for the specific department. So group by department name. So select department name, count of a star from employee. So this one can say as employee count you can say. So yeah, so I think this will be solution for it. This will give us like HR2 and ITH2. Okay, okay.